it is a Saturday. I am in work on a Saturday. We are in the middle of this big transition period for PCC. Mary is in the process of moving right now, which means that for the next week, I'm going to be recording videos. And I was just trying to get a bunch of stuff done. There was a bunch of topics that I wanted to talk about, a couple of which were Tatiana Maslany and this rumor that they wanted her to be, you know, the main face of Avengers Secret Wars. Of course, I don't necessarily believe that. I don't believe that at all. And now I want to talk about Simu Liu, who is really upset about Asian representation in Hollywood. He feels that it's backsliding there. And you kind of get an idea of why things went the way they went in Phase 4 Marvel, which is that they had a bunch of actors that just did not know how to stay out of the muck when they were promoting these projects. And I actually think Simu Liu shepherded forward one of the, I think the best of the Phase 4 Marvel movies. I believe Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, sorry, Shang-Chi, I think it's supposed to be pronounced. I think that was the best of those movies. I really didn't like Eternals. It was about as boring as you could imagine a Marvel movie could ever possibly be. But I liked Shang-Chi. Maybe I'll watch it again this weekend. But the point here is that he is slamming the appalling lack of representation in Hollywood. And as we all know, we've heard this story 1,000 times before, but let's go through it. It says, Simu Liu is slamming Hollywood's appalling lack of Asian representation in film. Put some Asians in literally anything right now, the Marvel actor, age 36, said on Threads. Well, first of all, guys, that's a red flag right there. If you're posting on Threads, you're already too far gone. Everybody knows this. The amount of backslide in our representation on screen is effing appalling. Studios think we're risky, he adds. The Canadian actor named multiple Asian-led films, including Minari, Crazy Rich Asians, Past Lives, Farewell, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and his own Marvel flick, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, that all succeeded at the box office. Okay, here's the thing. Everything Everywhere All at Once, yes, was absolutely successful and culturally a very kind of a cultural phenomenon at the time. And the same thing is true for Crazy Rich Asians. It was a very big moment for Hollywood at the time. And I suppose by extension, a moment for representation. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings made like 2.9 times its budget, which means if you add in marketing there, not a profit. But if we do want to say a profit, okay, it made a little bit of money. That does not mean that it was the type of cultural phenomenon that means it's going to drastically change the way Hollywood starts their casting process. It says every single one of them a financial success. No Asian actor has ever lost a studio even close to $100 million, but a white dude will lose $200 million twice and roll the eyes and then roll right into the next tentpole. People are sick, bro. They are sick of you making it about race. And because you have, we're going to talk about it, right? Like, I talked in a video last week where Lucy Liu kind of did the same thing. Lucy Liu is one of my favorite actresses from the 90s and the 2000s. But what I've seen most from people in Hollywood is that everyone, regardless of race, feels like they have been shortchanged. They didn't get the roles they deserved. They didn't get the credit they deserved. They didn't get the acclaim that they deserved. If they made a bunch of rom-coms, they didn't get to be an action star. If they were an action star, they didn't get to be in a bunch of rom-coms. Everybody wants more. Everybody wants something from somebody else. The difference is here is that the way things are in America now, there is a ready-made excuse, and that's oppression from Hollywood. An industry that right now is cutting jobs across the board. Layoffs are abound. All of these studios are unbelievably risk-averse. You know, if anybody has a bigger complaint than anything, it's the fact that it's the idea that everything has to be made from already known intellectual property because they're terrified to greenlight things that nobody's ever heard of before. Because in my opinion, despite the fact that everybody says they want all new, they say they want new stories, I don't know if the box office will ever truly bear that out. There is a reason box office slop is as successful as it is. Wicked, based on a pre-existing franchise, doing gangbusters at the box office this weekend. Zootopia 2 doing big box office numbers this weekend in America and in China, already based off an existing franchise. We know this to be true, but the difference is when we make it about race, every group has their own ready-made critique of why things are the way they are, and there's nothing you can really do about it, right? They're already cutting films across the board. It's just what's happening. We're fighting a deeply prejudiced system, he added, and most days it sucks. Okay, you have been working consistently for over a decade. You are not the example of a prejudiced system because you're not getting the roles you feel you deserve, or because Hollywood hasn't reached some arbitrary level of success. And they're going to go with what works, and they're going to reboot the things that have worked before. And that's why you get the same slop over and over and over again. And it's going to be that way until the end of time because so much money is invested in all of these projects. It says the Barbie star's rant was in response to a post from another user who urged Hollywood to put more Asian men in romantic lead roles. The post also featured screenshots of other Asian actors' comments about not getting equal opportunities. Equal opportunity is ridiculous. There is no equal. First of all, you're not looking for equal opportunity. Let me rephrase that. You're looking for equal outcome, because equal opportunity would be the ability for you to go to any casting call you want and potentially get hired. But here's the thing. It wouldn't have been equal opportunity if the white dude wanted to go and be in Shang-Chi. But if somebody wrote a character that was white, or somebody wrote a character that was black, or a character that was white or black, you're not going to necessarily be cast in that role if that's what Hollywood is looking for. It doesn't mean you can't go up for the casting call. They might take that anyways, but you're looking for equal outcome. And equal outcome is not possible. It's never going to happen. We are never going to get 100% one-to-one demographics. I believe in America, the Asian population equals out to like 7% of our population. Is the idea here that you want to lead 7% of rom-coms, 7% of action films, 7% of dramas, and who is the one who bears that out? You already have the groups that do that type of work. The USC Annenberg Inclusion Initiative every year makes their list of all the ways in which Hollywood is failing every group under the sun, and talking about how white men are the problem with everything. And it's just exhausting for the average everyday person who doesn't go to movies to see some type of checklist of representation. The Good Place actor Manny Jacinto was quoted saying he's only been offered dad roles after starring in Freakier Friday, while Lost star Daniel Day Kim claims that he's never been cast in a lead role in a rom-com for 30 years he's been in the industry. Well, Daniel Day Kim is an example of somebody who's doing things the right way. As much as I get annoyed with those types of comments, I almost said Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day Kim is one of the best. He is producing a lot of his own stuff now. He's got stuff coming out. And when he felt that he wasn't getting paid well enough in Hawaii Five-0, despite the fact that he wasn't the star, he walked away. Both him and Grace Park walked away because they weren't making as much as Alex O'Loughlin and Scott Conn were making in that show. They felt that they were worth more, so they picked up and they walked away, and they went in and made their bones elsewhere, and they've done great for themselves. I think that Grace Park is working a little bit less. I think somebody can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. She might have had a family or settled down or something. She wasn't working as much, but Daniel Day Kim continues to work consistently, and Simu Liu continues to work consistently. There is a truth that Hollywood doesn't want to admit, which is that people like it. The average everyday person likes it when you are grateful for what you have, when you are thankful for all that you've been given in that industry, especially a business like Hollywood, which is not an essential function to most people. They're going to say you don't even have a real job. They say that about me, right? One of the things that I forfeit as a podcaster is I don't get to complain about my job. Okay, because I have one of the coolest jobs in the world. And despite the fact that there are times when it's frustrating, despite the fact that there are things that I find that don't always work the way I want them to, it's not my place to complain, because most people who lay brick for a living or hammer nails for a living or work in an office, look, they are not going to understand where your complaint is coming from because it's so foreign to them. And that's okay. It's not their job to understand where it's coming from. It is your job to get the roles that you get, deliver on those roles to the best of your ability, and hopefully with successful roles, build your credibility up. And then maybe one day you will be a Jackie Chan or a Jet Li or a Henry Golding or any of these other actors that are that are more and more successful as time goes on, or a Daniel Day Kim who has made his own luck in Hollywood with the success of Lost, and then being, an integral part of Hawaii Five-0 and all of the other things that he's done. Very successful in Hollywood. People want gratitude. They want to see that you have a perspective on the world that shows that you don't feel that everything is just hard done by and that your life is so miserable, because they just won't understand it. You're making good money. You've got this great job. What are you complaining about? That is how a normal everyday person will see it. And people had their own comments about it. Look, Neon from Clownfish TV says, I wonder what Simu Liu thinks about the amazing reception of K-pop Demon Hunters, the singers that they got during the Macy's parade this morning. You would have thought it was Michael Jackson. Good for them. Which is true. Brent Clancy says Simu Liu has been working nonstop for over a decade and has been in major blockbusters every year since 2021. Why is he complaining and playing the victim card? He's hella rich. I don't know if he's hella rich. I don't know that, but I know that he is one of the foremost faces in Hollywood these days. He's very much front-facing. This person says K-pop Demon Hunters, Dragon Ball, and One Piece are all prominently featured in the Thanksgiving Day parade. Simu Liu should tell us more about how Asian properties are disrespected in Hollywood. If I'm steel manning his argument, Simu Liu is not talking about the properties. He's talking about the actors themselves. So those are having different discussions there. And then this person, Gene Gentry, says, not to mention that Michelle Yeoh has experienced a career resurgence in recent years and taken many roles outside of the action genre she's famous for and mostly done well. She won the Oscar for Everything Everywhere All at Once. She is currently in the Wicked for Good movie. Asian representation in American films isn't lacking. Simu Liu is upset because Shang-Chi, which Yeoh was also in, didn't become the star-making role he hoped for. Well, that was never going to happen because look, they realized that they weren't making $1 billion on films anymore. Things were falling off a cliff, and Marvel, they stopped, they cut bait, and they regrouped and then refigured out what they wanted to do with their franchises. And unfortunately for Simu Liu, it didn't involve him, and that's what bothers him about it. This is the same dude who wants to play Wei Shen in the live-action Sleeping Dogs movie. He's not a draw, so I'll pass. Look, I just think that for most of these actors, they underestimate how much gratitude plays a role in how the public perceives them. You've been given an unbelievable opportunity, and I'm sure you have worked hard. I know for a fact that what they do is not easy. I will never be one of those people that says that acting is somehow an easy job. I think the ability to embody the thoughts and emotions and feelings of somebody that is not you is not an easy task, and when it's done well, it's an amazing thing to look at. What you do is not easy, but it does not mean that you do not live a charmed life in existence, and a little gratitude will go a long way in helping audiences get behind you. That's my take on the matter. Look, same is true for me. Say what you want. But what I do for a living is one of the coolest things you could ever possibly do, despite the fact that there are setbacks, despite the fact that there are things that bum me out from time to time and don't always go according to plan. I am very, very fortunate for all that I have, for every opportunity that I have been given. And I think actors like Simu Liu would do well to take that same stance on things, and they will win back a lot of public support. That's my thoughts on the matter, guys. Let me know down below, what do you think about it? Maybe you've got some other facts in this situation. I would be interested to know, do you agree with him, or do you think that perhaps he's just coming off as a little bit insufferable in a lot of ways? Let me know down below. If you don't know what our podcast is, guys, normally Pop Culture Crisis is live Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. We are off this upcoming week, and we start again on December 8th, 2025. Mary will be back. She is moving. We are going to a remote show. We've been doing a lot of work getting it all set up for you guys. We're really excited to relaunch and bring the podcast back for everybody to listen to. Let us know down below what you think about what I said about Simu Liu, and we'll see you on the podcast when we come back. Later, guys. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media, and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.